All right, please introduce us to yourself.
Hi, I am Knotty Rell. You can call me Knotty, or you can call me Rail. um, and I am a lot of things. I like to. The last couple of days I've been thinking about it, and I'm like, I make this joke recently where I'm like, yeah, I don't care about the zombie apocalypse. Like, I'm ready. Like, I make soap. I know how to work with wood. I'm professionally a chef. Like, I cosplay. I rock climb. I fish, I do sports, martial arts, so I'm like, I have my hands in everything if possible.
Martial arts, what do you do?
I trained in Muay Thai. Well, I'll start at the beginning. I started wrestling, and then I got into Taekwondo. Then I got into Jiu Jitsu, Muay Thai, and boxing. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
asked because I do jujitsu. So,
Awesome. Yeah, I love it.
mhm.
And, I took a good amount of time off from martial arts because I get really competitive. Uh,
Mhm.
and if I'm in it, then I'm in it. Exactly. Uh, and I I go 150%, So when I train for like tournaments, it's like, especially if I'm, fighting somebody else, it's not just me, I have to really be on my game. So I had to like take a step back and be like, I am putting way more pressure on myself. But now I rock climb for the last 3 years. Surprisingly, it's been that long. And I love that, I boulder. So that's no rope. And that's a fight in against itself,
Mhm.
So like if I'm doing indoor or outdoor climbing, I can't get upset at anything but myself, like I'll
Mhm.
climb sometimes and actually, let's go over some rules real quick. Which, which are, rule on cussing? Cause I'm very loose.
Please,
Okay. All
please,
right.
please
Cool.
curse.
All right. There we go. So I'm very like, I'm intense and like when I climb, it's me against the wall, which is me against myself. And
Mhm.
if I mess up, I'll sometimes fall and people say they love watching me climb because if I send something, I'm very like cool, calm, collected about it. But if I mess up, I'm like, fuck shit, god damn it, and I throw my beanie down and like I'll do this like little dance at the end to like cool myself down and then I'll walk away and people are like, dude, it's fucking hilarious that, like, uh, but I enjoy that because at the end of the day, it's like I'm not competing with anybody but myself. Even when I am competing against other people, I try not to go into it thinking like, even though I like to, who doesn't want to place high? I've known that when I concentrate on that rather than what I'm doing, it just doesn't. I don't go far, you know. Um, and I've tried to take that on to everything I do, So like right now, I am a sex worker. I do content and adult content, and I love it. I've always been kinky. I've always been open about my sexuality, open about what I have known at those times. I want to say that because I think that we all grow and there's always change in our perspective. Um, so yeah, I am professionally for Jesus. I'm 34. I've been in the kitchens since I was 16. Um, so professionally, I'm a chef,
Mhm.
and it's always going to be my number one passion. I can't go out to dinner without having my own thoughts, about food. So food is always going to be my passion, and I always want to create experiences, and especially because of how I was raised and you know, my family, and I think the Black culture and our food, you know, I think that is why it's hard to be a Black chef. You know, Yaku and me and
Yeah.
Yaku, yeah. So Yaku and I worked together for years, and we used to make this.
Really?
Yeah, me, like that's a whole podcast in itself. Me and him together are something else.
So I have to start by asking, where did you get your alias from?
Knotty Key or Knotty Rell Key. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's Rell is a family nickname that my mom and my grandmother and the whole family would just call me Rell or like Rello. And Key is the prefix of my birth last name. And Knotty is because in the BDSM scene, my top, well, I can't say top because they're all very different. One of my largest passions is rope bondage. So tying knots. And going from tying knots to being naughty, as in kinky, the wordplay was easy, and then Knotty Rell Key just rolled off the tongue. I'm very goofy. I am a full nerd, so I sit there sometimes and like come up with like weird alliterations for stupid stuff. If me and my partner, you know, my partner sometimes is like, gosh, I can't wait for you to get your podcast so you can just say all the stupid shit that comes out of your head. It's great. It's funny stuff, but it's like, you know, as I was like coming up with this name, and this was a very difficult thing because it's not only an identity and a persona, but I didn't want to do it as others do, where it's a different persona, you know. I wanted it to be genuinely who I am, and I want people to really see my world, you know. I do have like a vanilla Instagram account, which is mostly climbing and cosplay. But everybody I know knows my main life, you know. So it was important to highlight that, but also keep my originality of Rel, which is all my family and friends call me that. And then Key Author is my last name, and people are very surprised because it's a very strong like last name, you know. It's very demanding. And I thought Key was just very enlightening, you know. It opens doors. So it all perfectly came together. And also when I was when I was coming up with the name for my kink store business, it was another, you know, Knotty Key is the store name, the business name. So it worked perfectly because it's like, you know, Knotty Key, the key to keeping your life naughty, and it all just synchronously worked, you know. So
I love that. And thank you for my soaps, by the way. My mom stole some of them. So thank you for the items that you sent me. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries.
How does someone have safe, consensual, kinky sex?
Communication. That's it. Yeah, you know, I think starting off with kinky is the way into the conversation, because there are numerous kinks. Everybody has a kink, actually, you know, like I realized this after like my first swinger party, and I was walking to work, and, you know, I usually go to work at like 6 a.m. and it's like 7, and I'm looking at people and I was like, yo, like everybody has a fucking kink. Like they just don't talk about it, you know, and they don't see it as a kink. But, you know, like certain people think sucking dick is like crazy. And some people are like, that's nothing big, you know, or my favorite conversation is like eating ass. And people are like, oh, no, not happening. I'm like, okay, sure. Why not? You know, if it's not your thing, that's cool. But I don't pass up opportunities. Fuck. And so it's always down to talking, you know, and I think people, well, there's two or more factors into it, you know, depending on the type of relationship that you're building and getting into. You know, there's the one-offs where, you know, it's a first meeting and I think the falling of this is Tinder, to be honest, because it was such a, you get together, alcohol is mostly involved, and then I feel like that's when the fuck boys and the thoughts like really came around, you know, because it was noticeable. And it was a lack of communication on both parts. You know, we use dating apps to really kind of like quickly learn about somebody. And then you go out on a date for, let's see, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 4 hours. That's a couple drinks, some food, maybe. And then you're already making a judgment ahead of time from the profile that you read. So you're kind of already invested. And we jump into things quick, and we don't talk about like, this is what makes me happy. You know, this is what I enjoy. This is, and the more difficult conversations, what I don't enjoy.
Yeah.
You
so
know,
what's something that you can do to make your partner feel comfortable with introducing them to BDSM?
research together. I also like to make sure that if a partner that I am with that has not participated in certain things, not just research with me, but research by themselves. Because I know that having somebody who is with you, who already is pushing you towards something, and having them watch over you as you're researching this is going to make you say, yeah, okay, let's do this, rather than you being by yourself and taking the time to be by yourself and really being like, okay, is this something I want to do? Is this something I might be interested in? Or is this something I should be like, fuck no, ain't doing it. I would do this though, you know?
Do you think that OnlyFans is ruining the porn industry?
I actually had an interview yesterday, and that was a similar question.
Yeah,
I use OnlyFans as my primary base. You know, I, on the other hand, as a Black content creator, adult content creator, I am taking it on myself to create my own Black empire and funnel that into the Black community and into the sex scene and sex workers community. You know, I have a lot of background with social justice. Now saying all that is saying that, like, I have the sex work stuff I do that helps. I take a percentage of that helps me keep afloat Knotty Key. Knotty Key products also are going to be used for my podcast and help fund that, you know, and it's it just goes cycle in a cycle. And then I also do the same thing with my tags, where it's like I promote my OnlyFans on this site and the other sites on the other sites. but everyone doesn't have that access and that time, you know, and everything that I'm doing also takes away from the amount of time I can create content. And let alone in this fucking pandemic bullshit, you know, like this is also why I'm kind of like, OnlyFans has helped, and it is a double-edged fucking sword, you know, dipped in dog shit. It's and the dog shit dip was when the whole Bella Thorne situation came in, you know. OnlyFans is great. OnlyFans is just like Instagram or any other platform. You know, they all have their algorithm. They're all going to push certain types of folk down, and you're going to have to work 3 times or 8 times as hard to get back up there. Now, I think as a whole in the porn industry, I think it does help sell content and it helps put money in folks' pockets. I think that some folks on OnlyFans, and some are my friends, definitely, because I have a good amount of people I really call close friends that are on there, put out great content and genuine and stuff that they know their fans will appreciate. And then there are others that I know don't put a lot of work in and take advantage of people. And that part sucks, you know, for me. And I have to juggle this thought of it's a heavily emotional industry. I don't think people talk about it as much as it should be, where it's like, I don't watch porn the same anymore, you know, especially with the racial issues tagged into it. But then the amount of work I know it takes for non-taboo and taboo porn stars, I rather put my money into their hands than a large production company. And it's hard to sometimes, I guess, 100% trust what you're getting on OnlyFans. You know, I had a recent incident with a person I thought was a friend. And we were like, all right, let's exchange OnlyFans and help each other out, you know, and they literally like I gave them a free link. They didn't click my free link. They said they were sending me a free link and it was like a charge. And I was like, it's pretty fucked up. All right, cool. You know, like, but I was like, whatever. I'll let it, you know, I just want to, whatever. I'll just let it go. And then I saw what they were putting out, and it was just very much like them taking people's money. And I was like, you know, I also know content creators who this is their fucking bread and butter. This is it. You know, like I see when sales go on somebody's page, and I don't think like, oh, this is a great deal for me. I'm like, they need help. You know, like I put sales on for my OnlyFans when I've lost some followers and I need to gain that. And so, yeah, OnlyFans it's great.
So I have a follow-up question to that. Because you said that you are trying to give more attention to the Black community. You made a post recently where you were saying that we shouldn't use the word master and slave in our relationships. Can you elaborate on that?
So yes, and I 100%, this is just my standing, you know, I've had to take, which I believe everybody has had to do this recently, a huge step back and looking at what we're doing and what we're participating in and how that reflects and looks and feels for certain people. Now, in the kink scene, there are things called honorifics, and a master and a slave is one. Well, to certain folks, you know, and I usually I always try to say that I respect folks' dynamics in their relationships and how that comes. But I also know that people bring those into dungeons, not just their home. So, you know, we build these relationships with people, and you have these honorifics, and then you go out to a dungeon, which is a public place. It's private, but it's public. You know, everybody's involved and able to come. And now you're using these honorifics of master and slave out in public. And I remember hearing it, you know, and once again, I try to respect people's dynamics because I know it doesn't feel the same for them, but it fucks me up when I'm trying to do a scene with a partner and I'm concentrating on them and what I'm doing, and I hear slave being called out from a white man behind me. The
So
fuck?
what's an alternative name that they should use?
There's so many. That's what kind of like grinds my fucking gears about it. It's people being lazy and ignorant. You know, it is, if anything, one of the most beautiful things in the BDSM world to come up with a type of honorific, because you get to know the person, you're figuring out the type of dynamic and relationship and what comes with that. You know, I have a friend, and I'm a big geek, so I'm more jealous that I didn't think about this, but he has his partners call him captain, and he calls his subs red shirts. And so if you're a Star Trek geek, you understand that red shirts, you know, are the ones that get killed off. So it's great, you know, and
fun.
Right. And then also you can say it outside in public. You know, that's where you can set these scenes up in public if that's your thing, where they can call you that. Or if that's just an all day thing when you live that 24/7, then they can call you that out at fucking Ralph's or Bond's or at the grocery store, and nobody's going to be like, Slay, what the? Like,
yeah.
You know, like, and some people are like, well, you know, I only do it at home. And it's like, so do you say nigga at home? Like when I'm not there? Like, it doesn't. So I try to say I respect people's dynamics, but I also say if this is the dynamic that you're creating, then you can suck my dick from the back, and I don't give a fuck. Master and slave is just not, you know, a term that I am comfortable with hearing at a dungeon, you know. And
that term, and there's race play, and that's a whole nother conversation, because, you know, there's some black folks in the community who participate in race play, but that's
that's another question that I have. Forgive me, sorry. That's another question that I have. Do you think that black men are fetishized so strongly to a point in the community that it's kind of extremely degrading? If that sentence made sense.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. And for those of you who are watching, definitely go to his page, Knotty Rell Key. He also has a website, tons of items. Like I said, he sent me a huge box full of soaps that have been confiscated by me. But they smell, I want to say they smell delicious, but it's like delicious in a way that I just want to bathe myself all day, and I'm running late to work, but I'm like, I just want to stay in the shower.
I'm sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
My headphones are tripping out right now.
No problem. But so did you hear my question about how black men are so fetishized, and black women are so fetishized to the point where it's very degrading?
Yeah. Let me just take these out. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Okay. Yeah. You know, that also comes back to like I view porn differently.
Mm.
Um, yeah, I think that it also is it stems deep within the porn industry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that there are people out there, you know, one of my favorite people to follow is King Noir, the real King Noir. Um, he is definitely trying to change a lot, you know. Yeah, I think I don't know. I don't want to say just men, you know, or male presenting, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the black community in the porn industry is over fetishized. Um,
Mm.
and either way, it's hard for me to watch. Especially when, you know, the I had this conversation the other day again where I was just like, yeah, you know, it's an issue where even if independent black owned companies create their own content and try to sell it and put it out there, they're still putting it on large platforms that are white largely based off of, you know,
Yeah.
and then even if you get it on there, then it's still put under a category of black.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not just porn, it's black, you know, and then it's the sub fetishizations of the black culture of, you know, especially femme presenting or male presenting, you know, and it's just like, yo, like, I just want to see black people fuck, like, normal, like, not every motherfucker leaves his socks off, like, on, like, real shit. I'm
No, for real.
like,
Sneakers on.
yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, like, you know, like, it doesn't even make sense. I don't care how baggy your jeans are, your shoes don't stay on, you know, and I've had enough relations and coitus with people to like try to jump into it and leave my socks off, and people be like, take your fucking socks off. What are you doing? So realistically, nobody on either side is giving up ass with socks on. It ain't happening.
Yeah.
You know?
What's a hard limit for you?
Mm. Well, race play. Um,
Mm.
um, Nooses or any type of necktie with rope. Um, I just don't do it. That goes back to people being creative. You know, like you can do a hair tie where you tie the hair back or the chin. I just don't.
Yeah.
You know, I am not a bottom or a submissive.
Mm-hmm.
I am. I am. Yeah, socks is a big thing. I don't. Every time I see real shit, every time I look at porn and it's black, unless it's black and those black dudes are fucking oiled down, lights are horrible, so they're shining. Yeah, everybody's wearing socks. I'm like, it's
Yeah.
fucking out
Okay, so
um,
our time is about to end, and I do want to ask you two questions. First, well, this is not a question, but please promote yourself. Where can we like you, follow you, and stuff?
my name is once again Knotty Rell Key. I have all of my platforms. Well, not Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and then I have a YouTube channel coming out the middle of next month. It's going to be called Listen, Listen, Listen. I'm really, yeah, it's funny. It's something that me and my partner always, I tell my partner, I'm like, listen, listen, listen. Um, and that's my next huge project. Once again, that is going to really support sex workers and industry folks. Everybody I'm interviewing will pretty much support each other. And it'll be Patreon based. So whoever's interviewed that month, they split that month's pot of whatever collection that is. So eventually it'll just get larger and larger and larger of Patreon supporters and followers. And we can do multiple interviews, you know, a month and maybe get it to one a day and everybody is getting, you know, the same percentage, and doing not much work except for what we're doing, you know, and giving away the same shit that they unfortunately have to give away now and not make anything, you know. So that's going in. And then knottykey.com. That is KNOTTYKEY.com. I do kink and BDSM body products and toys. So soaps, balms. These soaps are for pre-scene, after scenes, but they're also just good for skincare. I'm black. I have very sensitive skin. I have to take very good care of it. So that was heavy thought inside of it. And the scents are they help enlighten the mind and the body and soothe it. So also I have toys and all types of kinky stuff for people. Paddles, canes, and then my next big project for knottykey.com is my replica dildo. I just did my second test cast and sent that out for testing. So once I get feedback, then that will be on sale. And I'm really pumped for that. Honestly, like, one of my partners calls me a hoe, and sometimes I'm like, yep, show is. Like, yep.
Show is.
Yeah, the fact that, like,
So,
yeah, I'm great.
So my first, I can remember I only have two, and then I'll let you go. But my first selfish question is, I'm a bit traumatized right now with myself in life, where I don't like to be touched at all. So what steps would you recommend I take in order to enjoy pleasurable touch again?
Take your time. And you know, here, well, I guess I'm gonna try to wrap this into three. The two things that I would say do is take your time, figure out why you're not enjoying being touched. Is it because how you're being touched? Or is it because the lack of something? You know, I personally feel that it's, once again, communication hasn't been fully communicated, you know, and I also know that there's a lot of self-discovery in enjoying being touched. But I also know that there's a lot of trauma with some folks of being touched in certain spots and not enjoying that, and some people not being cognizant about and aware of, should I ask, do they enjoy their breast being played with? Or, you know, do they might enjoy their breast being played with, but do they specifically like their nipples played with? Or if at all, you know, there's a lot that goes into that. But the third thing that I honestly would say, and this is something that a lot of close people recently have been telling me about, and this is something that I'm actually getting ready to step into, is therapy. And, you know, I have a lot of it. I've mentioned it before, but I don't really talk about it a lot. You know, I have a lot of mental disorders, and there are a lot of hurdles with it, you know, and especially being fucking black, and this is bullshit, fucking 2020. I can't even say 2020. It's been the last 4 years of, you know, craziness that I'm not crazy. They're crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And having somebody to talk to you and help you through that, I think is that third thing, where it's like, the first two things, I think communication, you have to fucking talk it out, you know? And then sitting back with yourself and being like, man, I really don't like that, you know? I might enjoy having intercourse, but it might not be necessary for me to have an orgasm while doing intercourse. You know, and communicating that and figuring ways out for that to be fun, where it's like, okay, I don't have to come inside of you, or I don't have to have an orgasm inside, or, you know, like we can do self masturbation side by side with each other and enjoy each other, or figure out what works. But third is, like I said, what I'm getting ready to do, because I got so much shit up here where I'm like, yo, I know I'm not crazy. I know it.
Yeah. And then last question, is love all we need?
Oh no. Oh
Oh, why do you
no.
say that?
No. No. You're not.
Why do you say that? Why is that so funny?
I think that because here's why. And I think this
Yes.
is great to wrap this up on.
Okay.
Because especially if there's white folks or white presenting folk, white passing folks out there, you know, I think that love should be the end support system and what helps and cushions us. I believe that we have all gone through struggles, and those emotions of hate, jealousy, and figuring these things out to come to that point of either I have found somebody I love, which is great, but higher, I love myself and I know whatever I'm doing, I'm loving myself. You know, once again, I have a lot of depression issues, and running multiple businesses, it's hard for me to like keep a positive mood up, you know, and I hit these heavy fucking lows and I have to take a day off, but I know it's nothing I'm doing wrong. You know, I might get upset at something. I might be pissed off, but then I know that everything I'm doing, all the business ventures I'm taking, all the projects I do, you know, my partners that I invest in, my friends, that's love. So you can't have love without all of that other fucking anguish, you know? So all the shit that's going out right now where everybody's like, half the side's like, stop protesting, you know, a third's like, stop protesting, half, you know, a third's like, protest but burn the shit down. And, you know, so it's like, I am unapologetic about the shit that I say, because usually I think about the things that I say. So somebody's like, oh, I'm offended, I'm like, well, you probably said some shit that pissed me off and you probably should be offended. Like, and I'm not sorry about it, you know. I agree with burning this motherfucker down, you know.
Oh,
I've literally said it on videos where it's like, I have nothing else to lose, because every day I could lose.
wow. Wow.
What else, you know? So me shutting my mouth isn't what for. I could step outside right now and cross the street just the same as a white person who doesn't look across the street, and the cop's gonna stop me. So what the fuck do I gotta, you know? But all that anger and animosity and all this wild shit, let's not say our lifetime, maybe our great grandkids, but eventually all this bullshit is going to fester into some type of love where it makes sense, you know? Like, it's unfortunate, but shit, we had to do it to get where we're at, you know? So no, love is, it needs all those other emotions. It's necessary. And in the kink scene, you know, like, I think that is also, you know, and I would love to have another conversation about that, because
Me too. I was literally thinking that. I was like, this is too short. We have to do this again in the future.
Yeah.
If you wouldn't mind. No pressure. You can say
No.
no to me.
no.
Okay.
No, absolutely.
Okay.
Because I think, you know, that emotion in scenes, you know, a lot of us use those past traumas or the emotion that what you're going through that day, to release or to harness. And at the end of it, the end of the scene where it's the drop and the aftercare and you two are taking care of each other, or you three or however many, that cohesion and that bond is so fucking beautiful, where it's like, yo, all of this emotion you know, is what creates that love, you know.
I
Yeah.
love that. You're such a fascinating, but also you're from California. Are you from California?
Yeah, yeah.
All of you guys are just cool. It must
Well,
be the water or something.
well, I don't know. Nobody really wants to go out in our water. Not all the
Oh no.
time. Not all
Are
the
you
time.
safe, by the way? Oh my gosh. I was so selfish. Are you safe right now?
Other than, oh, like fires and shit.
The fires.
Actually, I really have nothing else to fucking lose. Like, you know, it's like this year, I think, you know, like the pandemic was like the initial part was horrible because of the change, but I'm kind of like a, you know, this my room is my work studio. I do everything in here, so I'm used to being inside, you know. Um, and so I was like, whatever, that's cool. But then I was like, oh shit, I can't see partners. Damn, that sucks. Other than that, fires, we get fires every year. I'm used to it. It's hot here. It makes sense. Should it be as many? No. Should people be throwing fucking baby reveal parties in the middle of the fucking desert with bushfire? No. But you know, those is probably the same type of folks that you know, want to vote a certain way. I'm just saying, certain type of people do certain type of stupid shit. I will say it again, black folks ain't out in the middle of the hills where coyotes possibly are throwing baby reveal parties with fireworks. So I'm just saying. No.
I really appreciate your time, Naughty. We're gonna set this up again because made by Mayhem said, this is way too short for these. Mayhem, forgive me. This is way too short for these topics. We're definitely gonna do a part 2. So if you're watching live or the replay, hit myself or him up with any additional questions that you may have about the lifestyle or about climbing, because I want to talk about climbing and I want to talk about rolling as well and cosplay. So I definitely appreciate your time. Thank you guys for watching. I'll talk to you later, love.
Thank you.